Hey guys, it's Pineapple, and in this video, we're going to discuss the gentle criminal and his possible return as a hero. Now, recently on the channel, we did do a video discussing the theory that Gentle and La Brava would be returning, and it seems like we were absolutely right that this is what was going to be going on thanks to the most recent chapters of My Hero Academia. But to discuss how it makes sense for Gentle to return right now in the way that he is, we're going to go over his backstory a little bit and everything that led up to this moment to really make sense of it. So this story starts with a mother crying in an office. She covers her face with a handkerchief and wipes her tears away as her son, Danjiro Tobita, sits next to her, age 18, sitting in his high school office, a place that he definitely isn't supposed to be anymore because by this point, he should have long graduated. The boy says, "To become a man so great that his name will be in textbooks, that is my dream, to be a hero." But his principal or his guidance counselor isn't really buying it, saying, "Look, you're not listening to me. You've failed multiple classes in your time here, and not only that, you've even been left back multiple times in our school, which really isn't all that big of a deal compared to schools like UA, where their curriculum will be much more stringent. Beyond that, you've already failed a provisional license exam 4 times, so I'm honestly just going to recommend that you just withdraw from our school and give up on being a hero." But as Tobita's mom kind of accepts that this is the likely outcome of the situation, Tobita hears that his friend Takashita has actually been called by a hero's office. And just by hearing that news, the flame is reignited once again inside of him, and he decides to not be discouraged and still continue on his mission of becoming a great hero. So his mom doesn't take him out of the school and he still stays enrolled, but again, things don't really improve on that front. One day when he's walking out of a cafe, likely having his afternoon tea time, the young man witnesses a terrible incident. We actually see that a person who's doing window washing on the side of a building has one of their cables completely snap as they begin falling to the ground, and a large crowd forms around them watching it happen. Now in this moment, young Danjiro Tobita's body moved on its own, a very heroic instinct and reflex. However, things didn't exactly work out as they have for other characters in the series. We saw that in that instant, Danjiro thought that his quirk could provide a cushion for the falling man, but what actually happened as he bounded his way up there with quick speed was that one of his bouncy air pads actually ended up getting in the way of a hero that was already responding to the situation. Now after the situation, Danjiro Tobita was actually arrested and taken in by the Hero Public Safety Commission, who let him know that the man who fell from the building suffered severe injuries that are going to take him 6 months to recover from, meaning that he's not going to be able to work for that entire time. And they say that the only reason that this happened was because the young man ended up using his quirk and being a hindrance to the hero who was already attempting to rescue him. This is pretty much like police interference, like getting in the way of a policeman doing their job, and that is something you can be charged for in the real world, and it's not 100% clear if he actually was, but I actually believe that he was charged with that act of interfering with an official's execution of his duties. The reason I believe this is because afterwards we do end up seeing Gentle's family is having a hard time with the bills, and they're kind of struggling, talking on the phone, maybe even asking for money, probably because of all the money that they had to spend in his lawyer fees. But afterwards, Gentle is even expelled from school, and that's not something that would happen if they didn't hear about that incident. And eventually we see, to a certain extent, the family is shunned because a bunch of trash is shoved into their mailbox, and we see graffiti on the side of their house, with his father not even looking as he walks out the door, and his mother throwing remotes and books and various things at him, telling him to get out, because it seems like at this point his family has become shunned all because of him, and they hate him. Then 4 years go by, and eventually in the spring we see Gentle, a young man, walking through the streets. It seems like he doesn't have a job, and he kind of has a lackadaisical nature, just kind of musing about the fact that in the spring you can eat horsetail, which is probably a cheap convenience for him. But in that moment, when he's already forgotten about his dream to become a hero and he's kind of given up on that whole section of life, he ends up seeing Takashita, one of his classmates back from the days when he was actually still in hero school. And he tries to congratulate this hero or his ex-friend by saying, "Hey, how are you doing? Remember me from school? How you been?" But Takashita just responds in a cold way, saying, "Who are you again? Like, I don't really know who this guy is." And even if he does remember, just because Gentle's family is shunned at this point, he's likely to be pretending like he doesn't know who this is. And it's at this moment where something inside of Gentle snapped, and he truly started his journey to become the villain that he ended up being. Now, eventually, of course, this leads Gentle to UA High as he tries to invade U High for one of his biggest performances ever, and invading the biggest hero school ever probably is one of the best ways to do that, especially since they are repeatedly the focus of so much public attention. plan. I also think low-key though that this is just a place that Gentle always wanted to go, especially because he went to a lower ranked hero school, so he never actually got to go to UA, which is the #1 school most people want to go to when they want to be a hero in the first place. Now, I'm not going to recap the events of the entire Gentle versus Deku fight because I feel like that would take far too long, but you guys pretty much remember how that went on, right? Deku finds Gentle as he's on the way to UA, their fight ends up leading them all the way over to UA and they have a battle, and Deku is able to more or less deal with both of them alone without anyone having to come in and get involved in the fight, making sure that the 1A performance went on as scheduled. Now, after Gentle was captured, the officer who spoke to him said, "Thankfully, we were able to get to you before it was too late." But that left the door open for Gentle to get a light sentence and for him to possibly return in the future. Now, Gentle and Labrava weren't dealt with harshly, as we didn't see either of them placed into Tartarus or one of the other prisons that were broken into in our Tartarus incident report video. So from what we can piece together from the most recent chapter of My Hero, Labrava seems to have taken some sort of deal to help the heroes and the police, because we see her with Tsukauchi in the same area that we know All Might is in, doing her hacking and working to take down Skeptic, who the heroes are fully aware of thanks to the last battles. Now, we know Labrava doesn't go anywhere without Gentle, and she even mentions that this is all for his sake. So we can assume that part of her cooperation with Tsukauchi in defeating Skeptic has to do with the fact that this probably also goes towards reducing Gentle's sentence. However, he surely will have a chance to do this himself with the way things are already going. UA is falling out of the sky and into the ocean. Not many people would actually be able to respond to this situation, but Gentle, with his ability to travel via air pads, could theoretically make his way across the ocean to reach UA and finally fulfill his destiny. In his backstory, as we just discussed, he wasn't able to save that person using his quirk, and we've seen that his last act as a villain was heading to UA for an important battle. Well, now I think it could all come full circle, and it'd be really fitting to see Gentle saving all of UA from falling out of the sky and crashing into the ocean using his quirk on a bigger surface than he ever has. Keeping UA on its trajectory to Shiketsu might be very, very important for the heroes, who still seem to have some tricks up their sleeve. And assuming Shiketsu and UA have really been in communication for a long time, we might also see a flying Shiketsu style base with the two halves being teased at possibly combining. That leaves me wondering what it'll combine into, and if that's the reason that they have Labrava there, since if they're hedging their bets on UA transforming into something, they probably don't want the enemy completely in control of their systems. Now, what I'm wondering is, now that Labrava has used her knowledge to locate Skeptic and put a stop to his interference, how will Skeptic get captured? I just know that someone is going to head out to his location to bring him down, since every loose end has to get solved before the end of the series, and him escaping would definitely be one, but it just reminds me that the heroes definitely have more going on than it seems, and I'm sure the surprises don't just stop at this one area. In fact, I have a video that I'm working on discussing what might be happening at each other area in the war arc that we haven't spent much time at, so keep an eye out for that video, as well as a few Shigaraki centric videos that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. And that's all I have to say about the events of this chapter for now, but if you like my analysis and breakdowns, or you're just looking for another consistent content creator to watch, I'd like to ask you to please hit that sub button and turn on all notifications so you can actually see my stuff. And if you want to take it a step further and support the channel, you can click the join button and become a member, because this would give you access to some cool custom emojis and badges to use on YouTube. And it really helps me out, especially as we head into January, which is always a really rough month for YouTubers. With that said, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Shoot it a like to help it stick into the algorithm just a little longer, and I love you guys. See you with more soon. This is Pineapple. Peace.